Come on. Good morning, everybody. Just a mic check, and hopefully everybody can hear me. Why does it say 0 there? What does that 0 mean? Am I live?
Wait, let me look at it.
I can check it
Yeah,
here.
it's there. It's back.
Okay, it's back.
It's back. Oh.
Why don't you? That's better.
Yeah, that's better.
Why don't you read the comments? Hello, good morning, everybody. I'm just gonna move my mic so Mia's voice can be captured also. Hopefully everybody can hear us.
Can you put it like up there?
What do you mean, down?
No, I'm talking about this one, like wanted on a big screen.
I don't know, can I?
Oh yeah, you can, but
Escape. We could put it here. Like, wait.
Mama goes.
Sorry, guys, we're just having some technical issues. What's the live?
There.
This one. No, this one. Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Are you seriously? No, that's just the video.
No, it's not. This
Look
is
at
live.
that. It's different. Okay. Okay, look at that.
Okay. It's just slow because it's. See, I told you. It's freezing though, right?
Yeah, because that's just the video.
Okay,
Right
guys,
there.
we'll get started now. Hopefully you can all hear us. I haven't heard anything otherwise. So we'll start with this, and maybe you can read it, babe. 7 hours before you live stream and you have 2 thumbs down. Damn, well, you can't make everybody happy. Thumbs up, brother. Well, you got the haters, man. You can't do anything about them.
Yeah.
Read.
Oh, early thumbs up from me too, from Gary. Good morning again, Paul. Your premiere was great. Looking forward to this live stream.
Thank you, Mr. Rod.
Loud and clear.
Okay, so it's loud and clear.
Morning.
Morning, Neil. How are you? You know what? I'm going to try to make this bigger. Is there a way of making this bigger?
No. Like, why is that not on that screen?
Oh, you want this whole thing on that screen? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I see what you're saying now. Okay, like that.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
better.
Okay.
So what's your topic?
The same as the premiere. So, guys, what? Assuming some of you watched the premiere and you have some comments on that, and basically we talked about what creates attraction, what Filipinos are attracted to in men, and one guy said his personality. That was kind of funny. But yes, of course, you got to have money, you got to have security. We all know that. That's just common sense. But I was talking about what creates additional attraction. Like there's always competition between guys for girls and for girls between guys. So you always want to be at the top of your game, right?
Yeah.
So you want to know what makes me attractive to a Filipina, or maybe not, you know? So we talked about that. We talked about body types. We talked about tattoos. We talked about personality. What else did we talk about?
I think that's what we talked about. We
Yeah.
never talked about you missed one point about the hair though.
Yeah, bold or non-bold, gray hair, no gray hair. Should you color your hair or maybe not? I don't know. We didn't talk about that.
No, we
but
didn't.
we did talk a lot about personality and people here and how to act, and we talked about PDA,
Yeah.
whether it's acceptable now or not. So those are the things we talked about, and we thought we'd continue the discussion. And okay, we didn't cover the bold or gray hair or colored hair, or what's your take on that?
Like, I've seen some of Filipinas, they are with a bold, is that how you say it?
Bold, yeah.
Bold guy. And I guess I think it's also cool to, like, you're bold, because like sometimes it's kind of like shiny kind of thing for us, like, it's cute to look at for us.
To me, the worst thing is like if you have barely any hair here, the comb over thing. I think it's much better just to go, like, if I was thinning up here, like I'd just go bold, because I think bold looks very masculine.
So, but also, like, guys, I think I love it when it's, it's natural, but you want it colored, I guess.
So you prefer me to have more gray than my See, I don't like gray. I think gray makes me look 10 years older. So yeah.
Okay.
So let's read some comments before we continue. Me?
Yeah.
My fiance and I have waited 1.5 years on our K1. Oh shit. So I'll go to bed early to sleep and get up and buy more of my US Bank ETF and the QQQ. Yeah, I have the same. I have the QQQ ETF as well. I don't remember what it was now, but I have so many different ETFs. But yeah, I bought that one too. And if I remember correctly, it's a growth ETF, right? If I remember correctly. But I might remember incorrectly. Tim says, Mia makes the show. Yeah, she does. Mia, you have a lot of patience helping Paul with his technical difficulties. No, actually, I'm the tech guy. Yes. I'm always helping her find solutions to problems.
Tuatha is here.
Good morning, Tuatha. Nice to have you. Land asks, would most Filipinos in their 20s prefer a younger foreigner, 20s or 30s, rather than an older foreigner, meaning 40s and above, if they had the choice? Now, if there was a whole bunch of 20 and 30-year-old guys here, living here, working, would you guys, be honest, okay? Would they prefer that, or would they prefer an older guy? And if so, why?
I think majority, they will still they will choose the 20s, 30s with security, like the guy has financial stability. And but I guess some of them also would rather stay with an older guy, because it's also about financial stability, because like older guy, they're more like, they don't need to work, they already have the money in them. And
I guess you're
and
saying,
also the views,
what if the 20 and 30s had the same financial stability as
yeah,
someone in their 50s?
So majority of them, they would choose the 20s or 30s with them.
I think some would choose older, and the reason for that, and the reason for that you didn't say, that I'm saying,
okay,
the reason for that is they feel more secure. A 20 and 30-year-old guy has so many choices here, that he's probably gonna mess around more than likely,
I guess.
So many girls would prefer an older guy who's more stable.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, because like guys in their 20s and 30s, they like, they have in their mind, like, they still want to play the game.
It's not just play the game, but their testosterone levels are much higher, and they have a much higher urge,
So I guess, like, I think it's also hard for Filipinas to stay with a partner guy like that, because, like, insecurities all around us, jealousy. Like, if the guy, for example, you're 20 or 30, whatever, and I'm with you, and you have this eye on other girls, of course I feel threatened.
Like, you already feel threatened.
Shut up.
Can you imagine if I was in my 20s or 30s? Okay, good question though. That's a great question. Bentayan Chinook says, don't point. I learned that on my first trip to to be with my Cebu queen. Don't point.
Okay.
Like what you doing right now?
Gago.
Like that. Don't point. That's a bad. That's a bad here. Pointing.
Yeah, like you're demanding.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
yeah.
saying.
So don't point.
Don't point.
Be
Just
humble.
just
Yeah. It's like, where are you going? Don't point there. Go. And that's another funny thing. It's kind of out of the topic here, but I've noticed like when we travel and we ask Filipinos where is this or that, if they have no clue, they always tell you where to go because they're too embarrassed to say they don't know. They always
Yeah.
pretend they know, right? And then you'll go somewhere and then they'll point back to the other direction. And it's like, oh. So asking Filipinos for direction here can be hit and miss. Filipina P just released a video about this. She said that women like at least some hair on the head. But Mia says different. I listen to Mia. Moro, you says red shirt looks good on you. Thanks, Moro. Red pilled, and red shirt. Dennis says, Mia, how do Filipinas feel about divorced foreigners with younger children? Is this a negative and a threat to their future relationship with a foreigner, with the foreigner? Be honest, okay? Don't BS now.
No,
Okay.
seriously.
Yeah,
I don't think it's gonna be a threat because, like, for example, you have a kid.
Like if I was here,
Yeah,
let's say I had kids.
That's what I'm gonna say.
Not that they're in the US. Okay.
Like if you're here and you're divorced and you have a kid in your past, of course it's not gonna be a threat to us. You know, it's not gonna be like, oh. You have kids and you know like your attention is gonna be on them like this, like that. No, we're not gonna be like that, of course.
So if the kids, let's say me, I don't have kids, but let's say I had kids.
Okay.
Young kids.
Okay.
And I had two kids, let's say a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old in the US. You wouldn't feel threatened by that.
No.
Even though I'm sending them money every month.
No, that's your kid.
How about if the kids were here with me? Would that make a difference?
No, I don't think so. I swear.
You don't think that would make a difference?
I don't think so. I think I would like. I love, I love being around kids. For example, just Diane. Shh. Like, I've seen all these Filipinas with a guy who was a kid before. I think when I was in Duma, I was back in Duma, and I saw this family. I guess they're family, but like. That foreigner guy, he was just walking with two kids, and I know that it's not the Filipinas kid because all the features are different, like the looks and then there's no Filipino features in the face of a kid, so I know that's not a film kid. So like I see all this Filipina, the way she take care of a kid, and she's so sweet as if that's her kid.
I have a bit different take on it.
Okay.
I think if you have kids, it's a negative. I really do. Because
why do you think so?
Because then some of your resources are used towards that kids. The girl says, well, he's had kids. Does he want more kids? And if I have kids with him, which kids is he going to treat better, my kids or theirs kids? And if something happens to that guy, will the inheritance go to my kids or to his kids? So I think you're different, obviously, but I think there are some negatives with that.
Okay.
And I think but if you bring the kids here, I really don't know. I think it's really very dependent on the girl, because some girls like you, I mean, if I had a kid here with me, I don't have any kids, but if I did have a kid and he was here with me, I think you'd be totally in love with that kid. You'd be like, let's have one, baby. Let's have another one, baby. Hey, it's my favorite Philippines YouTuber. Me or Mia? I think he's talking about you. I wonder what happened last night.
No, we just had a good sleep.
Yeah. What does that mean?
I don't know.
A functional pitoy toy. I don't know what that means. Dirk Diggler. Oh, Dirk Diggler. They want what all women want: cash, plus 6'8" and a happy stick.
6.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I think women want more than that. I mean, I think women want, like if you're a funny guy, I don't know. Filipinos love guys who have a sense of humor. They love to laugh and they love to have fun. I find here, and they're not very serious. So
No.
if you're the type of personality that is strict and angry and whatever, it doesn't matter that you're, I mean, they might be with you because you got money, but they're not going to be happy.
Yeah.
And they'll leave you as soon as they find a different option. I'm older, divorced, foreigner with no children. Is that a positive? I personally think it's a positive. Mia says it doesn't make a difference. So we have a
Different
difference
opinion.
here. And I don't know what you mean by older. I mean, if you're 20 and someone is 45, they're older, right? So if you're talking 70s, 80s, I think that's kind of, I mean, I've seen some 70 and 80-year-old guys with some beautiful women here, but
Yep.
those women don't seem to be that into them. They always walk ahead and they're not leaning into them. I've seen that too, some, but
It's rare to see a Filipina happy with an older guy, like
also
70s,
older.
80s.
Yeah, but I've seen it.
I mean,
I've
I
seen,
said it's rare.
But I've seen the guys that like work out and they're happy and they're going on trips and all that. It's like, because that's what they want. They want to go places and they want to do stuff and they don't want to just sit at home all day,
Yeah.
What? I missed it here.
Tuatha.
Where am I here? More here, yeah. 50s and 60s guys in the Philippines are still playing around, judging by some of the vlogs. Yeah, you can in your 50s and 60s here. It's like you're in your 20s in the US or 30s.
It's kind of like this Philippines is a playground.
It is. Very true. A lot of them feel that older is more trustworthy. Yep. Women seek passion, hot young dude, and intimacy, like-minded. But when poverty strikes, they go financial security. Yeah, I mean, women are hypergamous by nature, so I think they always go security first, and then the other stuff is secondary, and so on. In my opinion.
Okay.
Is Thailand or PH better for a long time with no rings? I haven't been to Thailand, so I can't comment on Thailand, but the Philippines is not an issue. I mean, you've seen my videos. I've said I'll never get married, so she's still here. She has no intentions of leaving, I think. Both weather is too hot. Now, there are places in the Philippines that is not as hot, like Valencia, close to Duma, and Baguio in Luzon, and how do you say it? Tatite. How do you say it again? Tagaytay in Luzon also. So there are many places that are cooler and that you could easily go to. Do they put LSD in Red Horse?
LSD.
That's a drug. That was popular in the 60s, I guess. I personally think Pinays are a lot prettier, says Wandering Dog. I do too. And I think the variety of looks here is much larger than Thailand. In Thailand, they're more homogeneous. Here, they got the European
Unique.
look. You got Chinese look.
Exotic.
You got Latina look. You got Filipinas. Like some Filipinas look like Filipinas. And some Filipinas you see and you wouldn't even think they're Filipina. So there's a much broader spectrum of looks here than in the Philippines. And me, from my thing, I think that's great, I I have them tell me at the grocery stores they were out of stock. All that means is I don't know where the product is at. Okay, says Mr. Ron. Land says it's fun watching you two. So much chemistry. Happy for you both. Thank you, Land. Wandering Dog says wealthy and successful men always exercise options. It's in their biology. Both men and women aren't naturally monogamous, with men less so. That is really true. If you look at the history of men, successful men are, let's say they have options and they use their options. That's throughout history. Less so in the recent history because of the social construct and laws and divorces and all that. But yeah, it was very common. Let's put it this way. I read this somewhere. Women would rather share a successful man than to be saddled with a loser, So that's just reality, in my opinion. But let's see what Mia has to say about that.
Huh?
You weren't listening. Okay. she tuned me out, I think. What about if the kids is with another Filipina? Does that change the situation?
Answer that is yes. Because we feel,
you talk. I'm gonna
we
get
feel
some coffee.
threatened. For example, if you have another Filipina and both of you doesn't have a kid, and for example you have a kid with another Filipina and you're with me, I feel threatened because I think you still have connection with that Filipina, and kind of I am the outsider of that family. So yeah, that's just for me. I don't know about other Filipino though. So darling, babe, come on. Someone asked, which Southeast Asian country is best for a live-in who isn't after rings and babies?
What's that?
Which Southeast Asian country is best?
I've only lived in the Philippines, but to be honest, here in the Philippines, that's not an issue. Just as long as you're upfront with them, just tell them you don't want any more babies and you don't want to get married. I've done it, so anybody can. I mean, I don't think it's an issue. How to meet girls now if currently live in the Philippines in the pandemic?
This pandemic.
What does that mean? How to meet girls now if you currently live in the Philippines?
If you are currently here in the Philippines and there's a pandemic, how to meet the girls?
It's not an issue. You meet them.
Go out.
Go out. Yeah, simple. You say hi.
Get the coffee.
I mean, here, the thing is, here in the Philippines, it's really, it's fun. I mean, flirting here is fun. Even if the girls aren't interested in you, they'll laugh and giggle and flirt back with you. It's just such a different vibe than it is in the US and most other Western countries. So meeting a girl here, you can meet them online if that's your thing. You can meet them on Facebook dating. There's an app called Bado. There's other apps here that are popular, and you can meet many. I mean, it's like there's an endless supply of beautiful women here. There really is, in their 20s and 30s. If that's your deal and you want to meet many girls, it's not an issue. It's relatively easy. And but you won't meet quality girls if you just go through them one at a time. It takes a while to meet a girl that is quality. So there are lots of girls here, and lots of girls will just go to your place on the first night even, and they're not even hookers. They just want to hook up. So if there's meeting girls here in the Philippines, it's not an issue. It really isn't. I mean, if you have an issue meeting girls here, it means one of two things. You don't know how to talk, which is really simple, and flirting here is so simple. I mean, it's just try it when you get here. Just say hi, or say, girl walks by you, say, "Oh wow, you're so guapa," and see their reaction. They might smile, they might talk to you. It's pretty easy. I mean, it's not difficult, and they're very flirty back. So that's a nice thing. They're not like stuck up bees like in the West.
What's P for P?
Pay for play. I realize all relationships are play for play. Marriage, the worst deal, in my humble opinion. I don't agree with that. I mean, if you meet a nice girl, and there are many of them that will take your needs into account also, it's not all play for or pay for play. No, I don't agree.
That's for Nukam.
A guy that already has children in the West may not want more. That can be a problem with a younger Filipina, says Mr. Ron. Yes, it can be, but again, I think if you're upfront, I don't think it's an issue. Wondering Deck says, and my GF in Taiwan was happy to pay 5 nights in MBS Singapore. If a girl loves a guy, she will move heck and high water to be with him. That is exactly true. And that's why it's important to be the best you can be, because the difference between a girl that's with you just for security and a girl that is passionate about you, oh, that's a big difference, you know. I mean, you know what I'm talking about, right? In the bed as well. There's a big difference. There's really such a big difference. So yeah, completely agree with you, Wandering Duck. Okay, we have to put an end to this each other. Paul, you should introduce a colored disc or a puck that you can hand back and forth when it comes to talking. Yes. Because like sometimes you start talking and I start talking and you're like, shh, I want to talk, you know?
Yeah.
But but I can be bad at interrupting. So I'm trying to get better. So that's her way of saying don't interrupt me. So it's fine. Scott says if
it
attaches an anchor to talking and the red pill control at the same time to an outside visual the two of you could relate to and avoid overpowering conversations.
Huh?
I don't know what that means. I think we think alike, Paul. So I think I would do well in the Philippines as you did with Mia. Yeah, I mean, like I'm saying, guys, Philippines, I mean, as long as you have they love easygoing people. They love humor. They love, hit the gym, look good, try to look the best you can, and it's not an issue. How much does monthly cost for a couple living together in the condos with other expenses? Well, I spend roughly about 1,700. I was going to say pesos, 1,700 US dollars a month. So, I mean, from month to month, it will vary. This month or next month, maybe it'll be higher because I plan to buy another scooter. So, but on average, about say 1,500 to 2,000, and we have a good lifestyle. So that's, yeah. Time of post is 7:49 Philippine time. Okay. Age is relevant to your age. Some would say my Filipina GF is an older woman at 45. She is 6 months younger than my son. To me, she's a young girl. Yeah, to each his own. Joshua says, red pill is wisdom. True. It doesn't mean you have to follow every single thing. It's just be aware of women's nature and what they look for, and be aware of your own nature and why we men do certain things. If you're aware of that, then you can stop yourself from doing things that can end up being catastrophic to you. How was your first month experience in general in the Philippines? Well, Gabriel, I'd been to the Philippines before, but the first time I came here, I was taken aback, to be honest, and I just loved it. I just fell in love with the country. The first few days I was here, I was like, I kind of made a decision within the first week or so that I was going to retire here. I just loved it. And then that was in Mindanao, actually. So I was the first time I came here, I went to Hingaog, I went to Camiguin Island, and I went to CDO, and I just loved it.
Thought you'd never been to CDO.
Yeah, I've been there.
Okay.
Cagayan de Oro. That was just a couple of days. What are your love language? Would you like to know? Just kidding. Next. I think the bangs are giving me more confidence. Good to see you two lovebirds, not afraid to express your different opinions and still laugh and be loving towards each other. Yeah, that's really important in a relationship, that we just don't parrot each other, but we have different opinions. I like to have discussions with people that have different opinions than me, not the same opinions. It gets boring if you're the person that has the exact same opinions, and I don't know, there's nothing to talk about, right?
Well, most of the time we have the same opinion.
Not always. We have discussions.
Yeah, we do, but okay.
Hi, Paul. I'm here from Daryl from Australia. Hi, Daryl from Australia. But what made you decide that you won't marry again?
After the divorce, yes.
Well, my divorces, both divorces, were relatively easy. So I didn't have like a bad divorce in any way. It didn't cost me much money at all. I think my first divorce cost me less than $2,000-$3,000, and my second divorce cost me maybe $5,000. So in the scheme of things, very, very small, but it was my journey into the red pill and my journey into like women's psychology and what they look for, and also how outdated marriage is, And then I looked at the statistics. For example, in the US, 80% of all divorces are initiated by women. The laws are written to almost make it financially beneficial for women to divorce men. And the courts are very female friendly, and very detrimental to men. So I just don't see any advantage for me to get married. I mean, I can see a lot of advantages for a female to get married because typically they have a lot less resources. But for me, I just don't see any advantage. And the only time I would ever get married is, for example, if I was going back to Europe and I wanted to take Mia with me, I would kind of have to get married. So that's the only reason I would get married.
It's like you're forced.
It's like the government is forcing you to get married. Yeah, exactly. But otherwise, no. I mean, if you want to be with me, you're with me. But if you tell me the only way I'll be with you is you marry me, you're out of my life, basically. You're not going to be in my life, because then you're telling me basically you want my resources and not me. Maybe.
Am I going to do any videos on condos or apartments? I don't really know, because like I kind of focus into
Writing scripts.
Yeah, writing scripts and all of that. But if I have someone calling me to film their condos or apartment, then I would love to do it. But for now, just no.
If you get the opportunity, you will.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying, huh? Marriage is suitable for couples that want children. Yeah, I don't even see today why it's necessary to get married if you want children. I mean, the thing is, I'm talking about the West now, okay? If you get married in the West and have kids, what does that do, really? It doesn't prevent someone from filing for divorce. It's not like it's you're married forever or married for the next 20 years. It doesn't do anything except help you on your taxes. And then it does other things that will make it really bad for you if you are divorced. Daryl from Australia. Would a Filipino go out with a foreigner who is 60 and short and looks just like a Filipino, or they want taller, whiter foreigners? Well, all women like tall guys. I mean, that's just in their biology. But I think here typically white guys are popular, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. But even if you look like a Filipino and you're in your 60s, as long as you have security, you have a nice condo, you still have an advantage. Secret agents. To be fair, Paul is far better looking than most of the older Western men. Oh, thank you. Is that true? Confidence 101. Secret agent says, I love flirting, but here in Canada, I have to be careful how we do it to not cause offense with younger ladies. Yeah, and that's the issue now, right? It's like this Me Too movement has done it so men are almost afraid to flirt because they might get reported for harassment or something. I mean, flirting should be fun. Whether you want to flirt back or not, you can flirt back in a way that is positive, but at the same time telling the guy, you know what, I'm not interested in you. You don't have to be a bitch about it the way they are in the West. Jan Mayer says, hi, London in the house. Sorry to hear about England losing on penalty shootouts in the European Championships. That was a sad thing, but at least you got to the final this time. It's been a while. Would you recommend 6 girls at a time? I haven't tried it out, but so I can't really recommend it. How about you, babe? Would you recommend 6 girls at a time?
Well, unless each girl doesn't know that you have another girl, so I guess that's okay.
No, 6 girls at a time, meaning at the same time.
In the bed.
In the bed, yeah. I think that's what he means.
Oh.
6 at a time seems greedy and a death wish.
Yeah, just be careful.
I think he's kind of joking. I get flirted with even when I'm with my GF sometimes. It isn't hard to meet girls here. Exactly right, Mr. Ron. That is so true. I hate it when it does that. How hard is it to find quality women in their 40s? I think it's relatively easy because, I mean, just to be honest, most guys that come from the West here, they're looking for girls in their 20s and 30s. So a girl in her 40s, I think you could probably do a lot better in the education realm, in the money realm, in personality, and I think you could probably get a lot more in that way, I think. What do you think? But you'll probably have kids, right?
Yeah.
But
it's rare to see a Filipina in her 40s with educational background, like with degrees and all of that, that is single and doesn't have any kid at all. So
yeah. But you might find one that's widowed, right?
Yeah, but like right now, I've seen a lot of couples in their 20s, like 25, all of that. They're already married and had a kid or had a house already together with their husband, Filipino husband. So, yeah.
Thank you, Secret Agent, for the, what do you call it again? The contribution. Enjoying your show. Thank you. Thank you for that. And now I gotta find.
Down. Down.
Here?
Down.
More down?
Oops. Next. Up.
Up here?
Up.
Here,
yeah?
Yeah. Dingo Dave says, I agree, Paul. Dingo Dave. That's funny. The dingo ate my baby. I agree, Paul. It's fun flirting with the girls, and they flirt with you. So many. SM shopping centers, you will meet someone in every visit. Yeah, exactly true. And they love it. The girls love it too. I love being flirted with. Right? Well, you don't, because you get so shy. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Mia, what did you see in Paul you liked when you first met? What did you see in me?
No, actually, I was the first time I met him. I thought he was like, I got a crush in this Tom Cruise. No, wait, I'm not yet done. And I thought that he was like he kind of like looked like a bit of Tom Cruise, so I kind of like, like surprised and, oh wow, is that for real? And after that, he started, like talking, and he got this flirty type of guy, and also like, he makes jokes a lot, all of that. So I kind of like, oh, I like this guy. Like, I started to like you, but unfortunately, it's one-sided. I guess
In the beginning, it was
in the
one-sided.
beginning, yeah.
Yeah, I actually friend zoned her. I said, I told her I'm not ready to have a girlfriend, so I kind of friend zoned her, and then we started hanging out, and I grew more and more fond of you and in love. So, yeah. Let's see. Greg asked, how much more difficult would dating be if you never had Facebook and don't plan on ever having Facebook? Well, I mean, you could just open a Facebook account just for dating. I mean, you don't have to put everything in there and all the info if you don't want them to track you and all that. I can understand that. If not, there's some dating apps here, and they're relatively easy to find online. So if that's what you're into, that kind of dating on apps, it's not hard. But also just dating and meeting people in person, just going out, saying hi to people and flirting with girls and
exchanging numbers
and so on. But you have to be a bit careful. Like, for example, if you're at the supermarket and you notice that a girl keeps eyeing you, and you talk to her once and you can tell there's something there, you can't really go up to her and ask her for her number in front of everybody, because it's kind of like, she might not want to like show her co-workers that she's giving you her number and all that. She might feel shy. So you have to find a way of maybe making it kind of more private for her to have the option to call you if she wants to, if that makes sense. Is that true, babe?
That is so true.
Yeah.
Because like I had that before.
Yeah. So you have to be a bit careful. Like, if the girl's alone, it's okay. But if she's with her co-workers, don't go up to her and like, hey, blah, 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 I want your number. It's just like, even if she wants to give you her number, she probably won't. So
need to use the love tree.
The CR. Jan Maris says, this one time in Cebu City, I went to this castle with my Filipina friend, just a friend, and I met a couple of lovely Filipina girls, and they would not believe me or her that we are not together. Yeah. That's true. They always assume if a girl's with a foreigner, it means they're together. So, yeah. The question is, did you get their number? He is saying you should let Mia talk. Who's he? Jan says, I'm a very patient man, but I wonder if I will get frustrated after a while in a relationship with a Filipina. If I ever have to explain things very often, any thoughts on that? Have you ever felt that way? Well, again, that depends on the Filipina that you meet. Yes, I've met Filipinas who are English is lousy, and it does get frustrating because after a while you have nothing to talk about. I was with this one Filipina that I could actually text her forward and backwards while we're sitting here. She was much better at texting English than she was at speaking it. So that can get frustrating. And if you have to explain things several times, yeah, that can get frustrating. But however, there are many Filipinas here, especially in the city, that work at call centers and so on. Their English is excellent. So you don't have to date a Filipina whose English is lousy. You can find one with English is okay to good to excellent. How would the average Pinay look at someone that only had $1,200 a month coming in? Well, Brad, they wouldn't really know how much money got coming in. Like Mia has no clue how much savings I have or how much my monthly income is. She has really, no one does. So it's my business and only my business. And that's the way you should keep it, Brad. I mean, you can live an okay lifestyle on $1,200, maybe not here in Mactan, but other places you can live on a okay lifestyle at 1,200. And a Filipina sees a white guy and sees him on a new scooter and living in a what we call a cement house here, not a bamboo house. They just assume you're rich. That's how they do it here. So you'll be just fine on 1,200. But you have to have, if you come here on 1,200, I would suggest that you have at least 20 to 30,000 US in like in a savings or investments or something. So if something should happen and you need money for an operation or something bad happens, you have some reserves. So don't come here on only 1,200 a month and no reserves. You got to have some reserves. Jan says, also the jealousy is going to drive me crazy. Any hints on how to deal with the extreme jealousy that occurs so often with so many Filipinas? Maybe you want to answer that. Do you have any, like, what about jealousy here in the Philippines? How do you deal with it? How should a man deal with it?
I'm not a man.
Okay, I'll give you my take. My take on that is, as a man, why don't you come closer? As a man, you need to set the frame in the relationship. And what do I mean by that is that you need to set the rules right from the start. If she throws a jealousy tantrum, you tell her basically, you know what? I'm not going to put up with that behavior. If that happens again, you're gone. Basically, that's what you do. I mean, you don't put up with type of behavior. I mean, a bit of jealousy to me is nice. It means they care. But I mean, this jealousy tantrum and trying to control you. And if you look at a girl, they play tampo for 2 days. That's all about control. That's all it is. And don't put up with it. You just tell them straight out. You do that again, you're gone. And they do that again, send them home for a month or two. And so they understand that you won't put up with it. There has to be consequences to bad behavior. If there isn't, the bad behavior will continue. Okay. Good morning, Jeff. You missed one. Secret agent said, if I divorced, it would cost 500,000 on the good side. CDN, Canadian dollars, laughing my ass off. Yeah, that's, but I don't know, secret agent. I mean, if you only live once, and if you're not happy, I know 500,000 is a lot to lose, but at the same time, every month, every year that goes by and you're not happy is a year you could have had a lot of happiness. Money isn't everything in the end. I mean, if you have 500,000 and you come over here and you have some residual income on top of it, I mean, you'll do great. I mean, I'm not, I wouldn't stay with someone because of money. You can always make more money, but you can never make more time, Time
is limited.
Time is limited. Money isn't. Especially US dollars isn't limited. They keep printing more of it. Google it, man. What the hell is red pill? Google it. Read the book, The Unplugged Alpha by Richard Cooper. It's a short book and it's to the point. So it's a great book. Scott says, I know a couple that each carry a dice, and when that happens, over talk, they roll it, and who gets the highest talks in that situation? I don't know. We're pretty we take each other into consideration, so I'll mute myself a lot of times. Apple says, hi guys, I want to get married. Yeah, most females do. Most guys don't these days. Red pill is based on the movie The Matrix. Red pill and blue pill. Red pill opens your eyes. Yeah, I mean, the red pill movement is not based on the Matrix, but the visual of the red pill and the blue pill is taken from the Matrix. Red pill, basically, you see reality as it is and not how the media wants you to see it, or the politicians want you to see it, how your social construct wants you to see it. You see it as it is. So, and that can be, yeah, that can be eye-opening in a way. Good morning again from Ohio, Paul. Good, beautiful Mia. Hope you both have a wonderful day from Timothy. Thank you, Timothy. Marriage, don't do it. No. I agree, Scott. Mia, if a foreigner has an ex-Filipina girlfriend living in the same city, does that impact the relationship? How she feels about the foreigner?
Well, in the beginning, I guess, yeah, the like it's like, you know, your relationship is not that stable yet, so the jealousy and, you know, insecurities are gonna be there. But as your relationship, you know, goes by, like maybe you've been together for 2 years already, I think the jealousy and insecurity slowly fades away, because like that girl already trusts you that, you know, you're not gonna go back with her ex or sort of things like that. So
yeah, I agree. I mean, if it's a strong relationship, it depends where your ex. I mean, if you're in Cebu City and your ex lives an hour away, I don't think it makes a difference. But if you're in Mactan and your ex lives, you know, 2 floors above you, I think it makes a difference, right? I think you'd feel a bit more insecure if my ex lived here in Mactan, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. Marriage kills female sex drive in my experience. Seriously. Yeah, it really does. And it's been shown statistically. So that's a true statement. And the reason for that is competition anxiety. A female that is not married to you has only a certain amount of security, right? So she knows she has to compete with others to keep you. So sex becomes a way. It's not that they do sex just to keep you, but it's something in their brain that makes them want to have more sex, I think, when they're not married. Once they get married, typically, not always, but typically, the sex life goes way down. So yeah, that's true. Have you become comfortable enough to fart out loud now or not? Have I?
Yeah.
Apple says, I have my own money, but I like marriage. Okay, good for you. I was married for 40 years, says Ron. Wow, that's a long time. Hey, Paul. Reply, suitable comment. I meant only reason that I can think of it you want to marry. My stepdaughter has a partner and a child, not married. I'm totally good with that. Yeah, I would be too. I have one of my exes in Norway. She's been with this same guy for over 20 or 25 years, and they're still not married, and they don't want to get married. They have no intentions of ever getting married. So it's like, you know, I think partnerships can work just as well as marriage. I think actually partnerships probably work better than marriage, because you know you have to keep working at that partnership for the partnership to continue. While marriage, I think people think, okay, I'm married now, so I'm just going to relax and eat my chips and chocolates and start gaining weight. And I think partnership actually can work much better than marriage.
That one.
Are there couples there where the woman is taller than the man? I'm sure there is. I haven't seen it. You read that one.
From Bob, marriage is misandry today. It's only good for the church and state.
Yeah. Well, it's good for some women too. Paul, you have an accent. Where are you from? I'm
from the planet Earth.
From planet Earth. Basically, I was born in England, lived in England. I lived in Egypt. I lived in Norway. I lived in the US. I lived in Spain. I lived in the United Arab Emirates. So my accent is all over the place. Marriage comes from tribes claiming ownership, true, then adopted by religion to keep offspring joining the culture to ensure a future. Third government for future taxations and past benefit costs to others. Yeah. Okay. 6 girls at once sounds expensive. Probably would be. 40-year women look like 50 here in the Philippines. Well, yeah, a lot of them do because of their diet and They don't exercise, many of them, but the ones that do eat a good diet and exercise, they look youthful. Yeah. Why you want old women? Who's you? I don't. And what's the definition of old? Your matter-of-fact attitude is refreshing, says William. Thank you. I found Asian women look great to about 35, then they hit the wall hard. That is true for many Filipinas, but like for Thai women, they tend to look better when they get older. And the reason, I think, is diet and exercise. So if you meet a Filipina at, let's say 25, 30, and you're with her, and you instill diet and you instill exercise in her, she's not going to age like the average Filipina. She's going to age much better. So
Yeah.
I found Asian women look great to about 30. Oh, I just read that.
Sorry.
If my GF is an old woman at 45, then I'm really old, man, because I'm 20 years older than her. Yeah. Old is just a definition, right? I remember when I was 20, old was like 35. I mean, when I was 20, a woman that was like 31, 32, she was really old. George says, a pure alpha life has a 5-woman rotation. That's being an alpha. It's not about rotating women, in my opinion. Tip: marriage is a 3-ring circus. Yeah, we've heard this one before, but it's funny. I got to read it again. First engagement ring, second wedding ring, and third suffering. Just live together to avoid the 7-year and suffering change in each other. True. The Philippines is the largest user of Facebook in the world. True.
It's Batman.
I don't know. Daniel says, I'm short. What's the definition of short, Daniel? Snow white skin, pointy nose, thin body frame. In other words, no belly. And I am over 60 with middle-class wallet. So does that give me a 50-50 chance of finding a younger, attractive Filipina? Actually, that gives you a 100% chance of finding a younger Filipina. Listen, I've seen guys here with a big belly, looks like they have triplets in their stomach, and 70 years old with attractive Filipina. Finding an attractive young Filipina is not the issue. Finding an attractive Filipina that is either educated or taking an education, to want something in life, that her English is good, that is hard to find. Finding some young girl that wants to have sex and is 25 years old and barely speaks English, not an issue. So you shouldn't have an issue. About the thin frame, man, hit the gym, hit the gym, eat a lot of protein. Not an issue, In real life online, as soon as the lady knows there's no ring or babies, they disappear. Seems the men pretending marriage get the action. No, not true. Not true at all. Now, if you're talking online, yes, many of them do, because many of them online, if you're in like Canada, the US, or Australia, they're looking to get out of the Philippines. So if you tell them you're not interested in marriage, what you're telling them is that you're not bringing them to your country, that you're going to come here to the Philippines, so they'll stop talking to you. But if you're here in the Philippines, that's not an issue. And if there's an issue, you just move on to the next one. There's plenty of girls. Can you give the girl in the market a note with your number? Would that work?
Yes, that works. I got that before.
You got that before? Huh?
I experienced that before, so yeah, that works.
Well, I mean, don't just give her a number and expect her to call you. There has to be like a bit of flirting forward and backwards, and maybe not just the first time you meet her, but go there 2-3 times and have a conversation and all that, and just like slip her a number, and say, hey, call me or something,
If you're interested.
If you're interested, yeah. And she will. She'll typically, they'll just text you hi or good morning, and then it goes from there. I have a friend who takes 100 business cards on their trip and gives them out to girls they are interested in with just their name and phone number. That's a good tactic too. A business card, because it shows that you're also a person who has or a man that works and wants to do something with their life. You're not just going to sit down and down beers all day. So yeah. Jack says, I think flirting in the Philippines when she is with friends is a matter of her being allowed to save face, which also would give you an edge up. Next time at Walmart, go to customer service, tell them there's a car that left the lights on. Hand them a paper with it written on and see if they announce it. NE14ABJ, some do announce it. What's that? Nay, I don't get that. Go back. NE14ABJ. I didn't get that, Scott. Sorry. A lot of them are better at written English than spoken English. That's true. Much better too. Red pill is a type of suppository. Yeah. Daryl said, red pill is hilarious. Recommended everyone read up on it. Bit like the old mad comics. I mean, to me, red pill tells me about the nature of women in general. Okay, and their base instinct and the base instinct of man and why we do things that we do. Do I believe everything the red pill says? No. No matter what beliefs you have, you don't believe in everything, whatever it is. But I think there's a lot of good there that men can read to understand not just women, but to understand themselves. Timothy says, they keep printing more money and giving it to people who don't work. Yep. That's going to be the downfall of the West, man. Money, cars, and objects can be replaced. What can't be replaced is your time. Don't let others waste it. They also include being unhappy. Exactly right. Time is limited, I mean, I'm over 50 years old, and I remember when I was in my 20s, and you guys do too, right? And you thought, God, 50 is so far away. Can you imagine being 50? You're an old fart at 50, right? And then suddenly you're here. And then I look now and I think, God, 80 is so old. I know one day, hopefully I'll be there too, but we'll see.
Yeah.
So if I have a hairy chest, Mia, don't come Philippines. You took the wind out of my sail. What does that mean? Of course, I'm teasing you. I think I'm a good person. I'll be fine.
You will be fine.
You will be fine.
There.
What you said is true. All Filipinos think that all white men from the West are rich. Yeah. I tried to explain it to them. Many people in the West are in debt, therefore worse off than cash-based Filipinas. Also true. Very true. The Filipinos want to keep working when they have a foreigner. Is there a status and face lost if they do?
I think for Filipinas, for some Filipinos, yeah, they still want to work because they don't want that foreigner, like we feel ashamed or shy or whatever if we go out in a restaurant and we can't pay the bills and kind of like we are in debt, like
you want to contribute.
Yeah, we want to contribute with expenses.
Yeah. So a lot of Filipinos want to help out then if they can, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I found that to be really true. Filipinos here are very feminine, but at the same time, they don't expect or want the man to do everything. It seems like, before I met Mia, I was like this one girl I dated. She insisted on paying. I mean, she wasn't rich by any means, but she wanted to contribute, and I think I see that a lot here. Some just can't contribute because they don't have the money, but I see that a lot here, that when you're with a girl, they want to contribute somehow. Yeah. So Dave says, good day, folks. I appreciate your input. Where are the best places to find a hardworking and loyal province girl not looking for marriage?
It's hard.
A hardworking and loyal province girl. Well, the problem in the province is that most girls and most people are unemployed. There's not that many jobs in the province, and that's why many of them come to the city, right?
Yeah.
So now, can you find a province girl here in the city? Yes. Many province girls come here, and you can catch one that just came in for a few weeks or a few months ago. And I think most girls, girls here are actually harder working than the guys, it seems like. They're the ones who have their shit together. Guys here seem to be all over the place, in my opinion, from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Do you agree on that?
I do agree. Also, it's really it's really hard to find a girl that's a province girl that's hardworking and loyal, and at the same time not looking for marriage, because in a province the parents are expecting their kids to get married and maybe move somewhere else to away from poverty and all that. So
yeah, but what they expect and what they can get are two different things. Like, I know a guy who was with this girl for, was it 2 years or something, and she kept saying she wanted to get married, and he broke up with her, and he said, you know what, I don't want marriage, so I'm leaving. And when he was leaving, she was screaming and shouting, okay, we don't have to get married, I love you, we don't have to ever get married, we can just stay together forever. So it's like I was saying earlier, you have to set the frame, and some girls will accept it, some girls won't accept it, and if they don't accept it, you just move on. The thing is, don't come here with the mindset of being like thirsty, meaning like with the Western mindset, like finding a girl is so hard. It isn't. Here it isn't. It's just it's a completely different market. So yeah. It's hard to find a female that doesn't want kids in the Philippines. Again, that is really true, but again, you can set the frame of that relationship. Daryl says, de facto relationships in the West are recognized the same as marriage after a certain time. There's no money difference if you break. De facto relationships. You mean common law marriage is not recognized here in the Philippines? No, because I've read up on that. So that's false. I'll let you read some bit.
Okay. From John Sparks, every statistic you quote claiming marriage is so bad is countered by studies that evidence the massive benefits of marriage: healthier life, longer life, happiness index for male and female. What say you?
Just keep reading.
Come again?
Keep reading.
Another guy says your accent is somewhat Norwegian. The way you say buhu and starlang. Starlang? Starlang is amazing.
Starlink, not lunk.
No, you made that mistake before.
Okay.
Hi, Irene.
Irene. Irene. I've never seen it spelled that way.
Lol, my definition of old is less years in front of you than behind you.
Well, I'm hoping to live to 120, so I guess I'm still young then.
Okay. Paul, did you grow watching Benny Hill and Fawlty Towers?
Especially Fawlty Towers. Benny Hill is okay, but Fawlty Towers, man, that's just hilarious. It's just I grew up watching a lot of British comedy, yeah, and I think British comedy is absolutely the best.
Triplets. LOL. I'm 66 and don't want an immature woman.
Well, there's mature women here. There's every type of woman here.
Google. Harvard study health advantages of marriage. I've been married twice. I'll do it a third time. Commitment in your career and in your personal life is good.
No, actually, I disagree. Career and marriage is two different things. In a career, you get rewarded for working hard. You don't have a contract where you lose half your wealth if you get divorced. So a marriage, now I'm talking about if you marry someone with less means than yourself. With marriage, you're actually telling the woman, we will reward you if you divorce me after a certain amount of years. And after a lot of many, like in California, after 10 years, Now you have to pay alimony the rest of your life, for what? I don't know. It's not like you still have access to that woman, but she has access to your money, which to me is crazy shit. I don't understand why anybody would get married in California. It's beyond me.
Yeah, do you believe a man can write a book explaining women? I no, I don't believe it because wait. Sorry. It's just that some women don't even understand the women the psychological mind of a woman because
You're saying women don't understand women.
yeah.
So how can men understand?
How can men understand women if us women doesn't even understand us? So that's kind of do you experience being a woman, or maybe you've been with a woman several times and your experience with women, and that makes you write that kind of book?
I think what it is that this can go pretty deep, but I won't go that deep. But I think society expects certain things from women, and women, they're pressured by social construct to act a certain way. So they don't even understand themselves, why they do certain things that they do and why they have certain desires. But I think, again, this might sound stupid, but I think like reading a red pill book, like Rollo Tomasi's book, Irrational Male, for example, it goes very deep into that kind of stuff and explains why women are the way they are. So I think that gives a really good explanation, because it also looks at history of women and why they have developed certain features, meaning like in the mind, why they do certain things that even women don't understand. So yeah, I think reading a red pill book like Rollo Tomaso's Rational Male, I think will make you understand women and see women for who they really are, and not what we are programmed to believe that they are.
Alternative.
The only alternative to getting older is death. Death and taxes, the only two certain things in life, they say. For Mia, how long does it take you to create your scripted episode, and what is your process? Good question. Don't give away your secrets, my love.
Well, in doing the scripted episodes, I kind of watch a lot of videos and do my own research, and I think it takes hours to do that because it's not easy to it's not easy to make your own your own ideas, and you gotta have the perspective of other people to create what's the word I'm looking for?
Create a script.
Yeah, to create a good
narrative,
good content, scripted videos. And also, what's my process? Of course I write my own script, and I let Paul help me with my grammar, and he will
add some funnies in there sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. And also he will talk to me what is wrong in my script, and he helped me a lot with that also. And
I basically help her on her English. Sometimes she writes really fast, and I actually know her English is better than what she writes.
Yeah.
But she's writing down her thoughts, and then I'll ask her, like, what do you mean by this? And then she'll tell me what she means, and I'll reconstruct the sentence or the paragraph in a way that maybe is a better English, and maybe a bit more. Sometimes I put funnies in there too, right?
Because if you are writing so fast, you couldn't you're not gonna think about the grammar and all of that. So
yeah, it's true. Oh, NE1 for a BJ is a mentalist trick. When they announce it, they will remember you and tell their co-workers, some of which will be drawn for the dirty, harmless trick you pulled on a co-worker. Okay. Never heard of that, but
that's done. We read that.
We read that? Dang, Paul, you were hooked with Phil's after 1 week. With the Philippines after 1 week? Yeah, I just I loved it. I love the nature. I mean, going to Camigan Island and I just loved it. Yeah. I thought I'd be dead by 50, says Daniel. LOL. 50 was so old when I was 22. Yeah, exactly. Now I'm in my 60s and shooting for dead by 80. Wait till you're 80, man. Then you'll be thinking 100. Nay used to running her business. She hates not working. Yeah, some people love to work. YouTube is kind of my work now. Don't go to Thailand if you expect the girl to contribute when you go out. That's kind of what I've heard about Thailand. The relationship is more transactional there than anything else. And to me, I don't want a relationship like that. I want a relationship where I feel the girl really likes me and she wants to be with me because of me and not because of a condo or good food or anything else. I mean, I understand that's part of the relationship, but there has to be more. Otherwise, can you go down to the bottom?
Yeah.
Matthew, thank you for the contribution. It says, if it floats, flies, or one more F in the quote of 3F, lease or rent and do not own. Okay, so basically Matthew is saying, don't get married, have girlfriends. What do you think about the situation where Filipinas get pregnant in high school, 15 or 16? Actually, they get pregnant younger than that, some 13, 14. And then give their child to their mother and move away for a job or something and hardly ever see their kids. You know, I think it's sad that, like, as an example, you know, in the Philippines, one shouldn't talk politics, but this might sound political, but I don't mean it to. But as an example, I think government, churches, and all society, you know, that communities should focus more on why these girls are getting pregnant and how to stop these girls from getting pregnant, and less on things that are less important, such as the flu virus. You know, I mean, it is important, but, you know, there are so many things happening bad in society here that I wish there would be more focus on it. Because when a girl gets pregnant at 13, 14, 15, 16, it basically can ruin her life. And but they don't get really that type of training that we do in the West, you know, about pills and condoms and all that when they're young. So they're kind of not in the know, but this younger generation probably knows more because they watch a lot of stuff on YouTube, I guess. But yeah, I think it's a really bad situation. It's a bad situation for society. It's a bad situation for them. And it's a bad situation for their kids growing up because they don't have a father in their relationship. And I think it's really important to have a father in when kids grow up. Wind of my sail is just all saying appreciate you too. Thanks, David. How would most Filipinos describe the definition of a simple Western man? That's me, Mr. Simple.
Come again?
How would most Filipinos describe the definition of a simple Western man? What when you say you just want a simple man, what do you mean by that?
I never heard of a girl saying I just want a simple man before.
I've heard it. I think what they mean by that, David, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that they want just a guy with humor, a guy who's easygoing, a guy who is just not like really strict about everything, just easygoing. I think is a simple guy, wouldn't you say?
Because like mostly
Like-
girls here, they said that, oh, I want a guy like this, that like that, and I want a guy who is like this and like that. But they never say I just want a guy that is simple.
They never say that?
No.
Oh, okay. But we always want simple girls, not complicated. Philippines has the only culture on earth where the firstborn female is honored above the firstborn male. This translates to a population of males who underachieve and behave irresponsibly. What do you have to say about that? I never heard that. That's new to me. Do you know that?
Mm-mm.
I've never heard of that, John. and neither has Mia. So I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think it's just I don't want to get into that. That's a pretty deep subject. Why the Philippines is the way it is. Has something to do with corruption. It has something to do with fatherless, child growing up without a father. It has many other issues that lead to where it's led to. I dated a Japanese girl for a period of time, and I really never felt I knew her deep inner thoughts. Is that true? You think, general with Panay, do you really get to know their inner thoughts? I think it's hard, no matter whether it's the Philippines, Thailand, or Japan, or Malaysia, wherever you go, because it's a different culture, different norms. So they might say something that to you means something in English, but to them means something else. So it's hard to understand why they do certain things, and it's hard to understand the culture because we're not born in it. And so yeah, I think it's harder to understand where they're coming from. I think so. But like, I feel I know Mia very well, as an example, but that's because we've been together for a while and she's very open and we have great discussions. So this one time in Brazil, John Mary says, this one time in Brazil, I was staying with a 23-year-old girl and she said, I've been divorced 5 times. Oh my God. I was like, what? She explained after 6 months living together, people in BR are common law married. Oh my God. I hate this common law marriage stuff that government tries to put down your throat.
Okay. That's bad.
What?
This one. I won't show that. Do you know?
Oh, yeah. Got it. Wait. Here. Dara says, haha, live to 120. Wish you luck, young man. Yeah. Actually, my great grandfather lived to like 105 or 110, and he actually smoked too. So who knows?
That's for Dennis.
Oh yeah. Proud anti-vaxxer says, Paul, good video with Gio last week. Thanks, man. As a native Californian, our divorce laws are positively draconian. Yeah, they are. It's crazy. I don't get any man would want to get married in California unless he's marrying like a rich girl or something. And how often does that happen? Marriage is for suckers. Yeah, for the most part. Marriage, thumbs down. Girlfriend, thumbs up. Daryl from Australia. I agree with you, Mia. The older I get, the more I don't understand women. I feel I understand them better now than I ever did in my life. So maybe it's just an illusion. Yes, if you fail in a marriage, you can lose half of what you own. But in a business, you can also lose everything if you fail. The problem is failure, not the nature of commitment itself. No, the problem is marriage, my friend. As I said, you're rewarding someone for making it fail, versus if you have your own business, you're not rewarding anybody for making it fail. If one of your employees is trying to make it fail, they fail also. So everybody wants to try to make it work. Because if you gain, they gain. Marriage, not so. We read that one. Commitment relationship with no cohabitation. I'll let you read this one.
Paul, I agree with you on most things, but there is a saying, make an honest woman of someone. Marriage is also about taking responsibility, making formal commitment. People can always do a prenup.
Yeah, but prenups do get thrown out of court sometimes, so there's always a little chance.
Don't listen to what women say. Watch their actions.
Yeah, that's really true. Are Filipinas okay with long-term committed dating? I think so. I do not want to rush a relationship again just to make a woman happy. No, you shouldn't. When you're dating, think about yourself. Don't think about the woman. Women think about themselves. So you got to think about yourself as a man too. What makes you happy? There are ways of keeping assets out of marriage, but I still do not believe in marriage. Okay, yeah, true.
Mia, when Filipinos mention foreigners, does that mean just Caucasian men? What are the perception of men of color having a chance to date a Filipina?
You're saying like when you guys are talking about foreigners, is it just white guys, or you mean African Americans? Do you mean brown guys? Do you mean, is it everybody just as long as they're a foreigner, or you when you say foreigner, do they mostly think white guys?
Majority, we think white guys.
Okay. Prenups get thrown out in court, worthless. Not true. If they're done correctly, they hardly ever get thrown out of court. A good prenup will prevail. Yep, that's exactly right. I'm not talking prenups. I'm talking offshore entities and
numbered
companies, trust holdings. Yeah, true. Prenups often fail in court because the woman can claim she signed it under duress. She can claim whatever she wants, but she has to prove that. And if you do it correctly, like don't do it 30 days before the marriage, do it months before the marriage. Make sure she has, I'm not an attorney, so find your own attorney, but this is what I learned. She has to have her own attorney, and she has to, and make sure it's video recorded, and make sure your attorney will know what questions to ask her to make sure she can't claim in court later that is under duress. So if you really want to sign a prenup, contact a lawyer. He'll know all these things. Google it as well, and find out what you need to find out, because prenups tend to hold up in court. Otherwise, people wouldn't sign them and spend money on them.
Yeah.
You need a better lawyer, my friend. Don't cheat and you'll be solid. I mean, most states in the US are no-fault divorce laws. So that means it doesn't matter if you cheat or don't cheat. You can have 100 affairs. It won't affect your prenup. So I'm not saying have 100 affairs. I'm just saying it's a no-fault divorce courts now, which I disagree with, but it is. It is what it is. My first divorce was smooth compared to the second one. 2.5 years of litigation. Oh my God. Thousands of dollars, probably 20 court appearances. Yeah. Now, Nuakim, did you have a prenup, or was it no prenup? I'm guessing no prenup, right? It's much easier to hide assets in numbered companies offshore, trust attached to string. Okay, then a prenup, I guess you mean. That's much easier. You can do both. In Canada, usually the prenup is signed long after cohabitation. Common law marriage supersedes the prenup, is worthless. I don't know about Canada, man, but I would think you also have something called postnup. So I wouldn't. I mean, if that's the case, I wouldn't cohabitate in Canada. I mean, you gotta basically do the opposite of what the government wants you to do. If they're threatening to take half your shit, or giving it to the opposite person. So Richard says, my woman left me, my dog left me, and I was out of luck. So I bought myself a self-driving truck, and that self-driving truck drove itself away. Sounds like you have a streak of unluckiness there.
Mia, if you could change any one thing about Paul's worldview, what would it be, and where would you love to stick that red pill? Huh? What do you...
She's asking, if there's one thing you want to change about me, what would you change? And she's asking, what would you want to do with that red pill? Answer the first question. What if there's one thing you want to change?
One thing I would love to change is that
I would say yes to marriage. I guess. Now tell her, what's the one thing?
Yeah, you said it. Actually, I kind of like disagree with his marriage view. Not everything. I mean, some of his views about marriage is correct, but I still I love the old generation. I love the social construct of the old generation. The the marriage thing before, because like you're really
Stuck through it.
yeah,
Good and
through
bad
thick
times.
and thin, because like I mean right now, yeah, they have this vow saying we're gonna be together through thick and thin, and like when shit hits the fan, everything is out of control. And that's the thing. I love to be, I mean, not love, but like I still I love to follow the old generation where you could get married and be legal in some ways, and not just living together. And you know that's that's the thing that I would love to change. But where would you love to stick that red pill? What was that again?
Meaning like, would you like to throw away the red pill or stick it up my ass? Or
No, he could stay with this red pill, but sometimes being red pill is kind of too much for me. I couldn't take it, and it makes my heart and my mind at a war. Like they're always at war, because like I always think about your red pill community and all of that, but my heart is
yeah,
kind
she
of
actually
like.
watches red pill videos now.
So that's, yeah.
I'm gonna start a red pill channel. Have Mia on. Mia is a lucky woman. I think we're both lucky. You're better to appear to always be poor to also avoid gold diggers. Yeah, that's really true. I wouldn't say poor, but I wouldn't show off my resources, so we can avoid those gold diggers. Yeah. But people fall for these traps here. It's like girl asking if she can borrow money and then borrow more money, and then it's just like,
I need to borrow money from you.
Can I borrow money? No, you can't borrow money. Paul or Mia, do you know how a Western could specifically meet a Filipina nurse in the Philippines?
Go to the hospital.
My background is healthcare, and I've met some great Filipina nurses in the US. Common interests helps dating. Very true. Hang around hospitals, I guess. I'm sure there's cafeterias and stuff, and you can go see doctors for BS stuff. It's only what, 300 to 500 pesos to see a doctor here. $6 to $10, and then you hang around the cafeteria, talk to nurses, I guess. I've never really tried, but it is harder because they are busy. They work and they work and they work. So it's harder to meet a girl that's working because they have less time. They're not as much on the apps. They're not as much in the malls and all that. So Mia reminds me of being a Panay style Mel Brooks, who writes, directs, stars films, does the music scores and everything in between. Well, I help her out too, man. Italy wins Euro Cup. Yeah, I read that, and I wish England had won, but okay, Italy won. That's okay. Speaking of the church, many Panay refuse to use birth control. Ask them about the IUD or implant, and most refuse. They say they want babies. Yeah, hardly any Filipinos here use the pill or any other type of prevention.
Yeah, it's rare.
It's rare because any kid is a blessing. Even after a wedding, if it's the 10th kid or the 15th kid, it's still a blessing. And I wish that would change here, because I think the easiest way to come out of poverty, number one, is to stay married to the guy and not be a single mother. Second is to have less kids, or maybe that's number one. Have 2 or 3 kids maximum. I think that helps stay out of poverty. When you start having 5 to 10 kids, it's, living off 15, 20,000 pesos a month, you're going to be in poverty. There's no way around it. And once you get into that circle, it's very hard to get out of poverty, because then you can't afford college for any of your kids. So, yeah. Blame the Vatican for the birth control scare BS. You know what? People like to blame politicians and church and everything, but I'm of the mindset, you got a couple of eyes, you got a brain, you can read and make up your own mind, especially today with Google. So I don't like to blame any other people. I mean, the Vatican, yeah, they've said some bad stuff, but today people don't really listen to the church. They do whatever they want. They still go in church because of tradition and pray for their sins, but they leave church and then they do all the sinful stuff that they're not supposed to do. So they could take the pill. It would be a smart thing to do, but they don't. So no common law in most US states. Yeah. Hey, Mia, what's it like to have a simple man in your life? Joking, Paul. Rocco says, maybe early pregnancy in the Philippines can be explained by the limited education in general. Yeah, I think that's true, especially in the provinces, also true. And what else is there to do? Also true. Boredom, I think, is a thing. Like the lockdowns, man. I think there's going to be like the COVID generation, right? What are the options for teenagers? ? Yeah, there's not that much to do, so they end up banging all the time. David Hellman says, hello, Minnesota, home of many Norwegians. It's funny. In Minnesota, there's a lot of Norwegians migrated to Minnesota. And when they speak English now in Minnesota, it sounds like Norwegians from Norway speaking English. So they'll go something, how you doing? How you doing? Like that. It's like, I can't really do it, but they sound Norwegian. When you listen to someone from Minnesota, they actually sound like a Norwegian guy speaking English. It's hilarious. No birth control means more babies. True. More Catholic raised babies specifically leads to more Catholics. More Catholic means more power for the church. I would say, and Mia might correct me if I'm wrong, but I'd say the church is losing power exponentially here in the Philippines. Less and less people are going to church. Less and less people are taking the church seriously. And I think even the people who go to church, they come out and do whatever they want. And there doesn't seem to be any like the old generation would take what the church said very seriously. I just don't see it anymore. And maybe you can comment on that better than me. So Can you comment on that? Are you asleep?
Oh, sorry, I was out of this world. What's it said again? No birth controls, more means babies. Means more, babe, I don't know.
You don't know? I think Mia's a bit tired, or her brain is fogged up or something. I don't know what's going on. You need some coffee?
I guess.
Go make some coffee. You gonna drink some of my coffee?
This is strong.
Did you guys go to the grand opening of the 2 new bars this past week, Honeypot and Players Club? No, I'm not really a bar type of guy, so. A saying in Thailand is, you can know my face, but you don't know my heart. Huh, true.
That's for Tennessee.
Oh.
That.
Mr. Ron says that Philippines is predominantly Catholic, and the churches that birth control is a sin, and the church teaches that birth control is a sin. That is one reason that it isn't used a lot here. I think it's more than that. I think it's also affordability is another issue, and just they're just not used to it. It's not a thing here. So. Yes, a sin the Vatican ensures on pushing on the uneducated in the Philippines. Sad. I lost the place again.
No.
Okay, guys, it's 9:10. Go for 20 more minutes, and that's make it 2 hours. So John Carson says, if your business fails, you don't have to pay your workers for the rest of their lives. Exactly. He's talking about marriage and alimony. Me, a simple man, I meant laid back, no drama, easygoing attitude about life in general, not driven by materialism, prefers love over status in life.
Yeah. I like that guy. Simple.
Yeah, so
Simple.
that's simple guy, yeah? Why don't you make some more coffee so you can stay awake, huh? Because I think you're not really into it right now. So can you go make some coffee?
Want some?
Yeah, make us both coffee. Mia's eyes are drifting. I'm turning 18 and 19, tired of Western feminists, planning on moving there at 22. I've made the conclusive decision on not having a kid and not getting married. Do you think I have a chance in the Philippines? Well, bud, if you're 22 and you're in shape, you're going to have the time of your life here. Guaranteed. Just being honest, man. But I think most women will probably not take you seriously, even if you are serious, because they'll see that you have an abundance of choice and so many options.
Hey, but some women, they like here, they have this relationship.
They can't hear you. Come here, say it.
Well, some women, they tend to, like, if the women are serious, some of them, but
Some want to play.
Yeah, some wants to play, some wants to be in a serious relationship. But if that girl is very serious about you and you're just playing the game, then I'm sorry, but she's gonna be a hell lot of a
No, but there are a lot of girls here that just want to play, so that's not an
Yeah,
issue.
but-
Especially if he's a good-looking guy at 19.
But I'm pretty sure that girl would be so possessive because you're a
Yeah.
good-looking guy and she just wants
we
the
don't
whole
really
of
know
you.
that. I said if, but
If
but man, if you're 19, I don't know if you're like rich or whatever it is, because if you're 19, you're going to retire here. You need at least a couple of $1 million, to be honest, to survive the rest of your life, because you ain't getting no social security if you're not working, unless you have some type of online work. But my suggestion would be concentrate on your career, and
build your career.
build up, take your time, and don't come out here to at least 30, man. I know it's tempting. I can understand where you're coming from, but I wouldn't do it at 19. I'd rather just come here on vacation twice a year and enjoy life here, and then work. I mean, I loved living in the US. Even I didn't date that much, but just working. I loved work, and I loved doing my own thing, exercising and doing all things. So find a hobby, man.
That's for Mark.
Lance says, Sunshine's Shoulders is an interesting channel for a black guy perspective in Philippine dating. I actually watched his channel yesterday or the day before. He has some good comments, and I liked his channel. Good guy. Good channel, too. A gent opting out says, if a prenup is done correctly, it won't get thrown out of court. That is laughable. I welcome you to attend family court with me anytime. I'm still laughing. Oh my God. Well, a gent opting out, I'm going to try to search that on Google later after the live cast and see how many prenups are actually thrown out of court. Maybe there's a statistics on that, and maybe you have a statistic on that. Darrow says, one divorce was enough. No more marriage for me. Understandable. And I think more and more men are actually coming to that conclusion. I mean, if you look at the manosphere, the red pill, whatever you want to call it, how it's growing exponentially. So more men are reaching the conclusion that marriage is just not worth it in today's society. in the West. So I think more and more women are going to and marriage rates are going down and down and down. I think more and more women are going to have a hard time finding a high value man to get married to, because they're just not going to do it. Most men are just not going to do it. I wouldn't if I was in the West. No way I'd get married. The only way I would is if the girl had double or triple the amount of money I have. No prenup and 3 kids, properties, etc. Yeah, that's going to be expensive. N says, also, if you have a lot of assets and wealth, it's very common for a trust entity offshore held third party. Okay. Quality of life is more important to me than living a longer life. That's also very true. Like, for example, part of my quality in life is being able to get around. So I have a scooter. Now that puts me in a more dangerous situation where I could get injured, but it's about quality, right? I could stay at home and feel safe all the time and take taxis everywhere and feel kind of limited in where I can go, but I want a quality of life. So my dad was starting to have serious health issues in the early 80s, and his last 5 years of life was truly miserable. He died at age 87. Well, most people's life at the end, the last few years, is typically hard because your body is breaking down. So unless you die of a heart attack or something at a relatively early age, and I mean like beginning 70s, late 70s, once you reach 80 and 90, your body starts shutting down. So and then you're using all kind of medicines to stay alive. So your quality does go down. It really does. Secret Agent says, different techniques for super rich business people to hide assets than us mere normal folk. Also true. I mean, for me, that's not an issue because I'm not getting married. And if I do, I already have earned what I've earned, and the countries I'm planning to go to, if I was married, that wouldn't be common law property. That would be property I brought into the marriage. Nuakim says, I got custody of my children, which is a rarity. That's true. They didn't hammer her for support. Double standard on that stuff. Okay, but did you ask for support? I mean, I would. Even if you don't need it, I would. Also, Xenophobic says, also, is there racism in the Philippines? Because I'm African American and I'm afraid if I move there, I may experience racism. Do you think it's a good idea for an African American to move to the Philippines? I really don't see an issue there. I mean, I don't see Black people getting discriminated against here, but I do see that women prefer white guys over African Americans. So, there's that. But that's not racism. That's just a preference. But you'll find plenty of women that will date African Americans. Like Mia was saying, that Sunshine Shoulders. He's an African American guy. He's got a great channel and a great perspective from an African American point of view. So check out his channel. Again, that's Sunshine Shoulders. And says the reason why asset protection requires a minimum is due to the cost of establishing and whether or not it's worth it in the end. But if you own property, that would be considered worth protecting. True. Good answer, Mia. At least Paul didn't run out of the room screaming. I think about the one thing you change about me.
Yeah.
The brofessor. I like that. Any person with the mindset never to marry will always have a strong argument not to. Those that do not have a balanced frame of mind, just my opinion. True. I will marry Mia if Paul marries my wife. That will cost you about $2 million, buddy. Any dude called pure alpha life is a loser. Donald Trump doesn't go around calling himself alpha. I disagree with you there. That Unplugged Alpha is a good book. He's not a loser. Richard Cooper is not a loser.
He's talking about Donald Trump.
No, he's saying Donald Trump doesn't go around calling himself alpha. And he, in his point of view, Donald Trump is an alpha. I assume that's what he means. Yeah. No pill is ever the cure for an emotional malady. It's just a saying, red pill versus blue pill. It's a philosophy, if for lack of other words. The Bungle 22, on a completely different note, does anyone know if you can get supplements like fish oils, creatine, ZMA, protein powders in most parts of the Philippines? Yes, you can. You can order all that on Lazada, Shopee, and now, what's the new one I found? The Alibaba one.
Alibaba?
No, it's not called Alibaba. AliExpress. AliExpress now, I found out they ship for free from China, and things are a lot cheaper, and they come here pretty quick. Also, you can order from Amazon. I'll tell you a funny story. I ordered my second cam, Action Cam, the DJI Osmo Action, which is awesome, by the way. And there's a link below that you can click on if you're interested in buying on Amazon. And it came late from Amazon, I think 10 days late, and they refunded my shipping. And then I ordered lots of extra stuff. Like I ordered 2 128 gig memory cards, because a lot of the memory cards here are fake. And I ordered a, what do you call that? The thing that goes around it.
Cover.
Not protective. A cover, but like a waterproof case, and a case for vlogging, and an audio thing for it. It came to about $120, $130. Well, it was stuck in customs for about 3 weeks. So I called and said, you know what, it's stuck in customs, and then they said actually it's actually lost in transit. So they refunded me all my money, and I asked them on the chat, so what happens if the package shows up? She said, if it shows up, just keep it. Guess what? 2 days later, it showed up. So I got it all for free. That was a good deal for me.
Should do that all.
Try that again. I should have ordered more stuff. I'd have got more free stuff.
Roku says, I understand what you're saying about marriage, Mia, and I'm sure you really believe what you're saying. The problem is too many women have disappointed men. The damage is done. Yes, I completely agree, but that's why I'm a woman, but I don't understand women. Like, they all have this vow saying, oh, I'm gonna be with you, stick with you through thick and thin, you know, till death do us part. And they're the one bringing the disaster into a relationship, like making it not work. And
80% of the time.
Yeah, and I don't understand why you're gonna get married if you're just gonna go through a divorce. What's the purpose of marriage if you're just gonna divorce and all that reason. Stuff? It's kind of like useless to get married if in the end, if you're just gonna say, oh, we're just gonna end up divorced. Like,
I don't think many women, or some, sure, I don't think many women, even in the West, think, well, I'm going to get married in 5 years, I'm going to get divorced. But things change in life, attitudes change, you know, and then she might not be happy in the marriage, you know, and she sees she has other options, but she also sees that she will get a good financial payment if she gets divorced. If she's been more married than 10 years in California, well, she's going to get alimony, meaning money, every month for the rest of her life. I mean, the government is basically saying, we're going to make it so you get rewarded if you get divorced. That's why I believe there's so many divorces. It should be that you take a financial hit when you get divorced, not get rewarded for getting a divorce. Christopher Clay says, thank you for the contribution, by the way, Christopher. I've been traveling to the Philippines for the last 20 years. I've never seen any level of racism, just stereotypism for what they see in movies and social media. I agree. I don't really see racism here. I mean, it's funny. I think Filipinos are more racist against Filipinos than any other culture. I mean, they're very harsh on themselves. They try to, they buy whitening cream so they get white, and they always look up to other cultures and not their own cultures, which I think they should look up to their own culture, because there's a lot of great stuff in their culture as well,
Oh, okay. That's for George.
Yeah. I have said this in a prior comment on another video, but Mia is generally impressive young lady. I'm amazed at her insight, intelligence, and humor. You are more lucky than you know, Paul.
Just kidding.
She has a great sense of humor, and that's one of the things that attracted me to her. And she also, what I really liked about her is that she wants to develop. Her English has improved dramatically since we've been together, and she reads a lot. She tries to improve herself, and I love that in any human being. I don't like people who just sit around and do nothing all day. I can't do that.
Oh, that's the mark. Filipino culture seems to be the way the US was 60 years ago.
It kind of is, but it's changing.
Okay, Mia. Sadly, the Catholic ideals has you hooked on a marriage cult. Would you sign a prenup long before travel to the Europe with ball, along with a video of you signing, understanding it? To be honest, I am not a Catholic. I I don't really like. I'm not. I don't really like.
She's not really that religious.
Yeah, because I've seen it in every people going to church, and after going to church, they always ended up doing the opposite what the biblical law is. It's kind of like you're being a hypocrite, So like, I don't understand why you're just going to church and ended up doing the opposite. So that's just.
How about the last part?
Yeah, I would. I mean, if that's what he wants, then I would. It does not affect me at all. If like, it's just that's just the way it is. So I mean, I always understand. I always try to understand him, and yeah, that's it.
This one time, my American girlfriend proposed to me when I was living in Denver, Colorado. She already booked the cathedral for our wedding, and I said no. Mia, you should propose to Paul. Do it live.
Oh, good. I'll get rejected.
Wandering Dog says, not interested in living to 100 if my back aches and I can't bone a woman the last 35 years of my life. I see your point there, Wandering Dog, but there's more to life than boning women, in my opinion.
That one.
But yeah.
That's for Wandering Dog. My girlfriend doesn't really want more kids, but I asked her, is having a baby a blessing? And she said yes. It's always a blessing, no matter the situation.
Even if it puts you in the poorhouse, it's a blessing.
Yeah. I was whale watching over the 4th at neighborhood swimming pool. The water level increased as 4 women got in, and they ended up getting in holding their hamburger and 24-ounce drink. Bikini.
It's funny. I was watching news on one of the news networks on the internet, and there was this report from one of the states where COVID is going rampant again with the new Delta variant, and there were 4 nurses, and all of them were overweight. I mean, some of them just a bit overweight, some of them really overweight. And I thought to myself, when nurses are overweight and they're supposed to know about health and taking care of themselves and all that, and they're still overweight, it's hopeless, man. It's just hopeless.
Mia, would a professional Filipino like a nurse or a doctor, etc., be interested in a foreigner 2 to 3 times their age? Well, I guess yes, because that's the women nature. They always tend to go to a guy that is
But
mature and
not 2-3 times their age. Like a 25-year-old would be. Okay.
wait. Come on, say it then.
No, you say.
Will you say it?
I just think the more educated Filipinos tend to look for guys just a few years older, maybe 5 or 10, maximum 15, some 20 maybe.
Do you know Diana Oldfield, right? How old is she and her husband?
Oh, true. Yeah.
So
I was wrong. You're right. Yeah, there is, but yeah.
never propose unless you know the answer. His answer is no.
Never ask a question unless you know the answer. Isn't that what the lawyers say?
My son just got his license and is a doctor.
Wow.
He's married. I preached to him. He's probably screwed for alimony already. Really have to make sure he's good before kids.
Well, alimony, I don't know about other states, but at least in California, it's after 10 years of marriage. So I read this one story about this woman. She was going to get a divorce, and her friends talked her out of it because she was married for only 9.5 years. And then like at 10 years, 10.5 years or something, she filed for divorce so she could get alimony the rest of her life. So, you know.
I have a BFF in Manila, female age 45, very devout, but loves screwing. To hell with religion and that. Married men live longer because every day seems like fucking eternity. What's your best guess in the percent of the PH economy that been lost due to COVID? What percent of the population is unemployed? It was 40% August of last year, but haven't seen any new numbers.
Well, I'll answer that. I think looking from the places I've lived, and of course it'll vary from city to city, I would say 30% at least has been affected by, probably more like 50%. If you look at hotels, you look at Airbnbs, you look at restaurants, and it all trickles down to different areas, right? Like, for example, a hotel needs, curtains, it needs bed sheets that buys from someone else who makes it, that's no longer selling bed sheets and so on. So it's really put an economic really hardship on the Philippines. Unemployment, look, the Philippines is pretty horrible at keeping statistics. I mean, Mia is like, well, she's going to school, but before she would be considered unemployed, but she wasn't registered as unemployed. So I would say unemployment here in the Philippines is well over 50%. I mean, I look at most families, there's one person working or two people working, and there's 7 to 8 people sitting at home. So it's very hard to find work here. It's extremely difficult to find work here. And tourism and retirees bring a lot of money to this country. And I really, really hope, I wish they would open up. I mean, it doesn't make a difference to me, but I think it would make a big difference to the Filipino economy. Like there are many, for example, there are many people that want to come here and retire, right? Many of you that would come here within the next 6 months to retire and would be willing, more than willing, to take a PCR-RT test and also sit 14 days in a quarantine hotel just to be here. And why couldn't they open up for people like that, knowing that these people, okay, they don't have COVID and they're not bringing COVID, but they're bringing money to the economy? I mean, there are things that could be done, in my opinion, to lessen the burden on Filipinos. And it's, I don't know, it seems like, I wish this was more thought through. I wish this had been like, okay, what should we do? For example,
well planned.
Like, how long have they known, not just here, but in the West, that soon it'll be opening? But yet there's no common app to say whether you have a vaccine or not. There's no common type of place a doctor can go in a database and put, you say, you know what, this guy has had 2 shots of this vaccine and is fine to travel. There's nothing like that. And it's just a mess, not just here, but in the West as well. And just closing down here, opening here, then they do this. And then next week they say, well, it's different. Like the IATF said, okay, if you had the vaccine, no need to take any type of test. And then this island says, LGU says, no, to come here, you still need a test, even though you have a vaccine. It's like, okay.
No cooperation
So,
with each other.
so what you're saying is
LGUs.
basically for the rest of eternity, you're going to have an RT-PCR test or an antigen test or some type of test to show that you don't have COVID, even though you've had a vaccine. I mean, what's that going to do to people traveling? People don't want to travel and take a RT-PCR test that costs $100 one way and then $100 another island. They're just spoiling everything. I just don't see the reason for it. I really don't see the reason for it. I mean, I see the reason for trying to limit the COVID, obviously. I mean, that's a good thing, but I think they could plan it in a way that would lessen the burden on the economy here.
Also, you're really right about the population 50% unemployed, because like if you are going to post a job on the internet, for example, like you're looking for a driver, for a day job driver, or just even a helper for a day, there's a lot of people is gonna contact you, and they're gonna like push themselves just to get that job. So
just for 300-400
yeah, because like it's really hard nowadays. I mean,
people are suffering.
Yes, and I don't get it, like how the government do not see that, or maybe they see it, but they're just being blind by what they get from it, or like, if you know what I mean. So
yeah. I don't, so no comment on that. Healthy and success from Wandering Dog. Healthy and successful men tend to attract women for marriage. Exactly. It's not being married that makes them healthy and successful. Think deeper. Yeah, well said. Birth control was illegal here until 2012. I didn't know that. Tennessee, very impressed with Mia from the way she looks at and reads the comments. You can see her intelligence. She is actually amazing.
Bula bula.
Amazing girl.
Thank you.
Perfect statistic. I thought you were going to joke.
Oh God, what if you pop the red pill and blue pill together?
You go crazy. You're like, No, I mean, I don't believe in just reading one thing. You got to read a lot of different things and make up your mind what you believe in based on facts. That's what you got to base it on, facts. Don't base it on your upbringing, base it on TV and the social construct. Look at the facts. Let the facts speak for themselves.
Yeah.
Okay, Mia's making coffee. Bring Dean out. What does that mean? Unemployment rate in May is estimated at 77%.
Reference number.
Oh God, 7%. That's a joke, man. I think we read that.
I guess.
No, we didn't. Go back. Matthew, thank you for the contribution. A 15-year-old girl's birthday is huge in Colombia. Older men circle like cruisers at the midnight buffet. Birth control and more have changed it there. 15 years old? Okay, that's kind of young.
Good advice.
Good advice.
Because you'll make the old man jealous.
Yeah, you make us old guys look old. They'll be like, I can have that or that. I think I'll take that.
Oh, this is for George.
Yeah, next. I've noticed the older expats have been seething with all the young bucks going over there. I wouldn't say seething. Anybody can come. It's a free country. I'm just saying, if you're young, you got to make something of yourself. Don't come here because, and then you've done nothing till you're 30, and then like, what are you going to do? You didn't get an education. You didn't learn a trade. I mean, you know what I mean? You got to do something with your life before you go on to something else. You got to make something of yourself. Yep, offshore trust in countries with different trust laws that require escrow-style instructions that can only restrict payments made on certain conditions, blocking offshore claims and court's orders. Yeah.
Interesting discussion.
Interesting discussion on marriage and losing money. Is that Is that the attraction of Philippines? You can just dump your girl and nothing
with nothing when you get
sick of them. Well, you can do the same in the US. I mean, there's no difference. If you have a girlfriend in the US and you get tired of her, you can just dump her, or she can dump you. What's the difference? Paul, I asked for support, but judge said he was not going to order it. I was grateful to get the kids, though. That's so typical, man. It's so freaking typical. If it's a guy, you got to pay, and if they don't pay, they get their driver's license, they get in prison. But a woman, no. It's kind of disgusting, actually. The Filipinos that are interested in older men in general see younger men as insecure, unstable, and disloyal. Separate group of Filipinos mostly. What do you have to say about that?
Does it mean that younger men are insecure and unstable?
Yeah. Talk louder, babe.
Filipinas are. I don't think so.
You don't think that Filipinos see younger men as insecure, unstable, and disloyal?
I don't think Filipinas sees younger men as insecure and unstable because, like the younger men, they have they have a better chance of like choosing women of
I think he's talking about younger men, meaning foreigners, not.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think Filipinos think that younger foreign men are insecure, and I think more kind of like unstable because they're still young and they haven't like grow their what's the word I'm looking for? Continue. I forgot about it.
In general, yes, I tend to agree with that statement. But obviously, they prefer younger guys. Like, it's a natural thing, right? They prefer like 5 or 10 years older. I think that's. Prenups must be give and take. Okay, if equally yoked and no kids. Otherwise, what's hers is hers, and what's yours is hers in most cases. Yeah. Again, don't get married. Not in the West, anyway. Paul, Wandering Doc is referring to Pure Alpha Life, aka Dean Verano in Nicaragua. Oh, okay. Right. I haven't watched him, so I don't know about him. Paul, you have actually ordered. Paul,
have you actually ordered good quality protein,
creatine, etc. online, or do you just think you can order it? Yeah, I've ordered it, and I found it in shops in both Dumaguete and in Cebu, so not an issue. You can get all that stuff
in a protein shop.
Yeah. Nay used to think older men were nicer than younger men. Since she started watching live streams with me, she doesn't feel that way anymore. Oh, that's funny. Oh, I lost it.
What's hers is hers, and what's yours is hers, except blame and nakatsabidan. It's all yours.
Yeah. %, filing for divorce doesn't mean women are to blame. Alimony goes to your children, not to her. Actually, not true at all. That's not true, Daryl. Alimony goes to her. In California, after you've been married 10 years, even if you don't have kids, you have to pay alimony. And if you have had kids, you have to pay child support. Alimony and child support are two different things. And if let's say you're making $10 million a year and you have to pay her, first of all, it's not really child support when you're paying somebody $50,000 a month for a child. It doesn't cost $50,000 to bring up a child. So it's all about resource transfer from male to females when it comes to marriage, or from those who have to those who don't have. It's like a socialist communist type of deal.
Alimony here is for the women, child support for the children. USA.
Yeah, exactly.
Us men are not against divorce. Hell no, but the problem is how things are divided.
Yep.
Why do guys go there, meet a Filipina who is working long hours and ask them to quit their job to spend more time with them just to later complain they're not contributing?
I don't think, I haven't heard of that. So I don't think many people do that. Now, some people ask them to quit the job because they might be only making $200 a month or $300 a month. And that guy wants to travel and he wants to do things with his girlfriend. So he'll ask her to quit. But if that's the case, you as a guy need to be responsible for her if things go wrong. You have to set her up where she can get back to work, catch up on her career and everything. It's kind of an alimony kind of type of deal. I think that's the right way to go. If you're asking her to quit, if she just quits because she doesn't want to work, that's up to her.
Thank you. On behalf of Paul and Maya, Christopher Clay for the super chat. Thank you. The laws of the US, the laws of the family unit. That's why I love Asian cultures.
Talk a bit higher, man.
My 29-year-old is making a 6-figure income as a licensed civil engineer here in Southern California. I saw him Father's Day and asked, when is he making me a grandpa? Said no marriage or kids.
Smart guy.
My ex got half of my military retirement.
Oh, God.
Ouch. Paul, it's like palimony in know you, so I have to pay marriage, not fair. Huh?
Paul, it's like palimony?
Palimony?
I don't know.
Great Mia has real integrity. Salamat po. That's for Dano. Off topic, but when you can stay 3 years on a tourist visa, what is the advantage of SRRV?
I think it depends. Like, number one, you have to be over 50. And if you've been in the military, the amount of money you have to keep in a Filipino bank is much less than if you haven't been in the military. So my understanding that it's cheaper and you only have to go once a year versus me, I have to go to the immigration office once every 2 months. So it's also less hassle, and more secure. Like, for example, in this pandemic, if you'd been here more than 3 years, you had to leave, right? Unless you applied for a special type of extension, and not everybody got it. So SRRV is more secure than a tourist visa. I just don't want to keep that type of money in a Filipino bank. I just don't have trust to it.
We have a food stand and a sari-sari store so we can work and still be together. That's good. Have sari-sari.
This is funny. To the gentleman who went whale watching, now I understand why I got wet feet here up in the far north.
I knew this was gonna go. When will the Philippines open to tourists who don't get the vaccine?
2067. No, I think it'll be many, many years before the Philippines says yes to people without vaccine. At least 2-3 years. So if you're not willing to take the vaccine, forget the Philippines for a while. Forget going anywhere for a while, actually.
21% of unemployment before the lockdown.
Yeah, and they're saying it's 7% now? No way. In the event 201 pandemic prep, the experts said that the real economic effect would be felt for 2 years after the actions government business. Okay. Yeah, well, they got out of that by printing a whole bunch of money and borrowing and affecting kids and their grandkids' future.
Good morning, Alan. From Asian Romans. Paul will said about allowing vaccinated foreign tourists into Philippines. I agree.
That's Asian Romance. He also has a YouTube
Great
channel. So check out his channel.
Thank God I didn't have the drama of 2 teens girls like my brother-in-law.
Michael says, married a beautiful 23-year-old Filipina like Mia. After she arrived in the USA, we had 90 days to marry or go back. We married and she met many Filipinas in FB group and was westernized. Bad idea.
Yes, it's actually like if she's hanging around with a Filipina that's been westernized already, and like the
Being
mind,
divorced.
yeah, been divorced, been through a lot of like
Being rewarded to leave her husband.
that's not really good, because like you are who you are if like you are hanging out with people who is also
You become like your 5 closest friends, right?
yeah,
They're all
Bed-
divorcees. You're gonna be the 6th divorcee.
feathers of the same
Flock
Oh.
together.
birds of the same feather flock together.
Yeah.
That's really true.
You know, I was married to Filipina. I don't know if you guys know this or not. When I was in the U.S., she was actually from the Philippines, and I brought her over. And before my red pill days, I brought her over, and everything was actually going good. You know, when things really went bad, is when one of her friends or someone we knew got a divorce. Okay. And then they started hanging out, and she asked if her friend could live with us. And I had a big house, and I said, sure, she can live with us till she gets back on her feet. And that's when things started going to hell, So if you are together with a girl from the Philippines and you're living in the West, try to keep her away from women like that. That's the only thing you can do.
I divorced her.
Yeah, you should have too.
Sure.
If you're under 30, going to South America is a better choice. Why do you say that?
If Paul cannot get to their chats, they will move to another channel. We can't agree to disagree.
What does that mean?
Uh,
Anyway. Anyway, guys, it's 9:52, so 8 more minutes, and I'm out of here. Cooper, you have a great YouTube channel. Yeah, Richard Cooper. Yeah, entrepreneurs and cars. Yeah, great channel. This one time in a mall in Tagbilaran City, which is in Bohol, I went to get my haircut, and I got a free head and upper back massage. Do you get that everywhere in the Philippines when getting a haircut? Yes.
yeah,
I never,
almost always.
Yeah.
They give you a free massage.
The first time I was like, what the hell are you doing? Is the guy putting the moves on me or what? What the fuck?
Roy Jones. Hey, I'm commenting here. Good for you.
Alimony and child support are separate. True. The Philippines won't open for anyone without the VAC, just as many other countries will deny. From Scott. True. Mr. Rod says there are 7% in the US and over 40% here. Hey Paul, your voice has uncanny resemblance to
Nika Rosberg.
F1 champ. Just saying. Okay. I know. Alimony will stop if she gets married, but she usually won't, because then she will lose that nice free paycheck. Exactly. They'll just shack up with their new boy toy. Exactly. Cooper channel is great for comedy value. No, it's great for understanding a lot of stuff. They will move in a boyfriend and keep their paycheck. Usually your house too. Yep. And that's the last comment. Yeah, bit.
Mr. Ron from for Dano. No comment.
Okay, guys, that we reached the last channel. The last comment. And if I missed any of your comments, I'm sorry. Sometimes when we go up and down the comments, we lose track. And hopefully you enjoyed it. We certainly did. And thank you for joining us. And see you on the next one. And if you haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button. And don't forget to subscribe, comment, and share. Okay, guys. See you on the next one. Thank you and bye-bye.
And the broadcast.